Okay, hello. This is gonna be the second attempt at recording this video. It got so chaotic in here, so I had to move to a different room. Dogs barking, people talking, televisions blaring, and so yeah, let's try this again. Essentially, I want to make a little video in relation to this week 15 discussion about the effective utilization in testing, debugging, and conducting security reviews. So I couldn't really figure out a project that incorporated all three of these aspects. But we can talk about a theoretical application later on, and I can talk about where I could have integrated all three, but there's just some things I couldn't figure out at this moment in time. But just learning a little bit at a time, and pushing yourself, making a little project just to knock the dust off and all of that. So I figured something that's relevant in terms of testing and debugging and doing security reviews is something called directory fuzzing. And directory fuzzing is when you, well, first, what is a directory? Okay, walmart.com. That's the URL / robots.txt. Robots.txt would be the directory. A directory is kind of, it's like how it is in a file system. So you've got the main place, and then you've got directories, you've got subdirectories. It could be something.com /blog/1 to get to a certain blog post, or something.com /sign up to get to a sign up screen, whatever. And so those are directories. So directory fuzzing, here's a list of directories. The robots.txt is something that a lot of websites put up for web scrapers, like the ones that Google uses. And the Google web scraper knows to check this file in this directory so that it will not include these certain URLs in its search results. So, but this kind of shows like how strange certain directories can be, and how off chance it would be for you to manually find hidden directories, and you get hidden directories of certain websites. It's basically the fault of lack of oversight or thoroughness on the side of the web developer. Because there will be directories, there's many directories in websites that there's no button to click to get there, and the only way you could get there is by typing the directory into the URL bar here. And a lot of website designers will think, oh, they'll look over it. And so this is in my opinion, if you're making a large website, directory fuzzing is a crucial aspect of testing that website for security exploits or security vulnerabilities, because you might have something there that you don't want other people to see. So you want to make sure that those directories are not accessible. So I built this fuzzer, and first I'm just going to display it. I'm just going to use it, and then I'll run through the code and explain how it goes and everything. So one thing that you need to keep in mind is that you cannot do directory fuzzing on just any old website. It can be considered hacking. It can be considered a crime, and people have gotten in legal trouble for directory fuzzing certain websites. So, and it sends a lot of requests when you do it automated. It sends a lot of requests to the site, and can, maybe not in the instance we're about to do, but in more sophisticated instances that use like multiple processors and stuff like that, it can slow down the in and out traffic speed to websites and stuff. So that's why we're going to do it on this site right here called hackthisSite.org. there's lots of websites you can find out there that are made purposely vulnerable and exist for the sheer sake of, you know, being a testing ground for you to test techniques and stuff and find vulnerabilities on. This isn't necessarily one of those sites, but this site, as you could probably guess by the name, has within it an open invitation to try and hack it. You can do whatever you want to this site, you know. And this site has been hacked many times, and you know, if you hack the site, they put your name on a leaderboard. So, you know, they're not going to think it's a big deal. So we're going to use it on this site here, and just to integrate PowerShell into this project a little bit. And I'll go over later how it could be integrated even more, but I couldn't really figure out how to do it. And but you know, we can run Python scripts through PowerShell, you know, which is pretty cool when you combine that with the way that, you know, PowerShell can pipe the output of one script into an input of another script, you know, and it can provide automation. So we're going to run the script, which is called the Fuzzer. It's going to ask for the website to fuzz. HackthisSite.org. And you're going to see it checking against a directory list. Ooh, it's taking kind of a long time. Okay, we got that. Ooh, my internet's slower in this other room is why. Oh, sweet Lord. So yeah, your internet speed is definitely a bottleneck because I ran this in the other room that's closer to the router, and this was going much faster. So I'm not going to make you sit through this, but you know, first I should say that you can see it's checking different websites and it's telling you when certain sites are good, and we'll go over how that's working when we look at the code later. But you can go on a Google search and find, just typing in, you know, word lists for directory fuzzing, and all kinds of lists will come up. And this is part of a word list. The first word list that I downloaded was 87,000 lines long. And doing the calculations on when I was using it, it was taking about a second to do for each request, and sometimes 2 seconds. So if you average it out to 2 seconds, just to, you know, be on the safe side, you're looking at 48 hours of the code running straight to make it through an 87,000 word list. So I'll just show you. I had actually tried to make another more complicated script that took the word list and broke it into 20, instead of one 87,000 item array, I broke it into 20 different arrays, each with 4,350, and then made 20 threads, with each thread running the fuzzing function here. And my mindset, I was like, that's going to go 20 times faster, but it didn't, and I don't know why. I think the fact that the functions are doing connections is maybe some kind of bottleneck. Like maybe you can't do two connections to a site at the exact same time, even if they're different directories, or something like that. I don't know. I haven't gotten into threading before until then, but it wasn't going any faster. So I said, well, let me just compromise and just delete 99.999% of the list. Okay, so now we just have a short list of maybe like 100 or so words, just to show, you know, the basic. The code would still work with a longer list. It would just take a long time, you know. And a lot of times, cracking stuff with brute force methods like this, whether it be directory fuzzing or any other kind of fuzzing, or passwords or whatever, 48 hours, yeah, stuff can take that long. So I'm sure there's a faster way to do this, but I compromised. So I use the shorter list. Okay, let's see if it's done. No, it's not done. But you can see here that it's giving us some of the directories in the list are working. Some of them are like slash images slash news slash blog. I made it where it gives it to you in real time instead of just while also presenting the whole list at the end. And my God, it's taking its sweet, sweet time. My internet's just got to be so much slower out here or something. It was going way faster. Oh man, it's not even a quarter of the way done. Well, what the heck, dude? Well, I'll just walk you through the code. I've already run it here. And at the end, it tells you, here's a list of all the valid sites on the word list. So we got images, news, blog, articles, the register, and the security. And you know, if you click one of these, like say register, and open them up, these are good sites. These are valid. So we can go to. I like the one that says images. I've already been here, but for some reason the images it just says mer. So that's interesting. And we've got the blog. Now, you know, ideally, if you were really fuzzing, you know, because this is just one word, but ideally, you could then loop back around and take the items in this list, and then run each of these against the word list again. So do, you know, hackthisite.org/images slash, and then run every word list on it again, and then see if there's any like deeper directories that are. But it's like, Jesus Lord, you're looking at a long time there. So, you know, that's what you end up with. So basically, I'm going to just quit out of this because it's taking too long. I don't have the time for it. Okay. So that's the basic demonstration. Let's go over the code here. So we got requests. I had JSON for a minute, but I didn't really use it. We've got the directory for our word list. We make a variable that is just the open directory, the open file in read mode. We make another variable that, you know, reads it out, and then we make another one that splits the readout, and this is going to split it. It could split. It's kind of like an automated function that it could split it based off of commas, or it can split it in this case based off of word or line breaks. So what we end up with even more is an array, because you know, once you do read, it makes an array of everything, and so that's what we end up with, an array of every item separated by a comma, you know. And then it's going to ask for the input, which website do you want, and this will be the empty array that will contain all of the good sites after this loop has gone through. And then it's a simple printing out checking. We append the name of the website you put in with I, because for I and even more, remember, is an array where every element in the array is a word on the word list. So it's going to add the word on the word list to the website, and then, you know, we end up with, we make the new site variable so that we can print it out later and append it to the good site array if it's a good site. And then we just we make a variable that is a request.get. It's just that easy. This is also the basic thing for doing API requests. You know, you just, you know, you turn that request into a variable, and then that variable all of a sudden comes with all kinds of different built-in methods and cool things about it. What we're interested in is its status code. 200 is a status code of like, hey, this is a good site. But a lot of times, you'll still get a 200 because websites now they're not going to just 404 every time you put in an invalid directory. It handles it better to where it just, you know, like we'll say hackthisite.org/, oh crap, .org/something. And back in the day with 404, it'd be like, man, it's not a valid site. Okay. But this one, so this will give you a 200 still, but it's not a good site. And I don't exactly know how, but response.txt, text of the HTML of the request get, it gives you the whole HTML. Like it prints the source. So I don't want to print it out because it's a lot. But to know what it would print out, you could just do this and do page source. And so the response.txt has all this. And somehow, don't ask me how, but you can just find a single string that would be in that whole text, and it can tell just with this if statement whether or not that string is in that entire body of text. So that's pretty powerful. That's high level. Something like lower level languages, I don't think would be able to do that from my experience. But so honestly, for this to work, because different sites have different messages when you go to the wrong ones. Like if we go to Walmart's and put in an invalid directory, it's just going to say this page could not be found. But on this, it says the requested URL something was not found on the server. So before you do the fuzzing, you have to go to a known bad page on the site, find a string that's in there that occurs every time. This top part actually changes every time you go to a bad page. So now it says we didn't do it. So you can't use that because it's changing. So this one doesn't change, was not found on this server. So that string is going to be on every bad page. And so we're going to put if not found on this server is in the response text, which remember the contents of response.txt is the entire HTML source for the page. So the code is 200. That means, hey, it's at least a valid something. But if it says not found on the server, we're going to pass. We don't want it. If that's not in the page, then that pretty well means that it's a good page. So we're going to append new site, which remember is website plus the iterable and even more. We're going to append that into the good site empty array, and then we're going to print that it's a good site. And then at the end, it for I and good site for each element in the good site array, it's going to print it out. So you have that. Now, theoretically, a way that you could integrate this further with JSON and with PowerShell even more is, and I just didn't do it because I was trying to get it to work, but I couldn't get it to work. So PowerShell has a built-in command called send mail message. Now this is cool, but I don't know how to use it. I don't think that my mail, any of the mail that I have, can be sent over this protocol, which is SMTP. I don't think that it's just not letting me. If it would let me, or hey, oh no, yeah, authentication required, and it's just not gonna. Mail.com, which is what I use for my email, just doesn't let you do that. But there is a lot of different emails services out there, especially in like a corporate environment, where you would probably have your own corporate mail server, and then from there you would be able to send emails using PowerShell, and you can supply attachments in those emails. And if you had a JSON file which had relevant emails in it, you could then at the end of this code you could write the contents of good site into a CSV file or some kind of file. You could then convert it. No, you wouldn't need to convert it. You could output it into a CSV file. You could come into PowerShell and you could pipe it directly into a script that iterates through the email accounts in your JSON file and automatically sends the CSV file to those email accounts. and I tried to get that to work, but I couldn't. It would be cool. It would have integrated, all three things we're talking about. But that's just a theoretical addition to, how it could all be integrated. Because PowerShell is has the potential to be like a full dashboard. And there's potential there for seeing sort of the scope of what you can do by having an automated um, emailing system that emails lists of these directories, the output of this directory fuzzing script, to wherever you want, or you could send it to some IRC or send it to somewhere or other. But and there's a lot more that could be done with this. In a security context, you could probably encrypt the file with either Python or PowerShell before it gets emailed, which may not be necessary if you're using the secure socket layer for the SMTP. But yeah, that's basically the project. Just a little project today. I'm kind of working more on the project for the finals, which is going to be a lot more interesting. But just wanted to put a little something out to have some fun, fuzz some directories and do something relevant to the realm of cybersecurity. I don't assume anyone watches this, but if you did watch it, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day, and talk to y'all later.